Okay, where we left off with metaphor, um, one more example would be he was a bear tearing through his dinner without pause. So again, comparing a character to a bear without using like or as, just saying he was a bear, he is a bear when he eats his dinner. That is a metaphor. So take a moment now to create your own metaphor and include it in the blank space under the metaphor definition on your handout, on the page in your handout, on the packet. Okay, if you're still working on your metaphor, go ahead and hit pause on the video clip for a second until you are ready to move on. If you're ready to move on to onomatopoeia, then go ahead and keep listening or hit play when you're ready. Onomatopoeia, look at the spelling, O-N-O-M-A-T-O-P-O-E-I-A. Really hard to spell, but it sounds very interesting and it's fun to say. Onomatopoeia. An onomatopoeia is a name for a literary device that again has to do with sound. So it's describing a word that sounds like the noise that it is describing. So it's almost a noise word. That would be one thing you could write down on your handout too. Buzz is an example of onomatopoeia. Meow, right? Think about that word meow. It's an actual word. You can spell it out, M-E-O-W, but it sounds like the noise that a cat makes, right? That's onomatopoeia. Or the word whisper. When you say whisper, it sounds like what a whisper sounds like to say, or to whisper, 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 whisper. You know, that's what it sounds like when you're whispering. The word bang, that's another example of onomatopoeia. So that's, once you get the hang of that, this is a pretty straightforward definition. But take a minute to fill in the blank under the onomatopoeia section in your packet before moving on. Okay, oxymoron is the next literary device, and an oxymoron is an actual thing, but it's made up of two words that are opposites of each other. So it's two opposite words used together to name a new thing. So it sounds confusing, but it might make more sense when you look at the examples. Sweet sorrow, right? That's an example of an oxymoron. Or bittersweet. It was bittersweet saying goodbye to my friend, right? It's sad, but it's also good, meaning you have to move on to the next thing or something. Sometimes goodbyes can be bittersweet. Original copy, right? That's a word, that's a phrase that we use. This is the original copy. Well, that doesn't make sense. If it's original, how can it be a copy? But that is a real phrase that we use. Or thunderous silence, that's a good oxymoron. Or jumbo shrimp, right? Jumbo means big, shrimp means little, but there is such a thing as a jumbo shrimp. Or pretty ugly, students always like that, right? He was pretty ugly, it was pretty ugly, right? Pretty, we know what that means, and ugly, we know what that means. They don't go together, but they do in a sense if you use the phrase pretty ugly. Or black light, that's another example of an oxymoron. It doesn't make sense that light can be black, but that there is such a thing as a black light. So take a moment to fill in the blank in the oxymoron section and just digest this definition for a minute before moving on. Okay, personification is the last one that we'll do in this section. Personification is a literary device used to describe writing that makes inanimate objects or things, not alive animals or humans, or animals, so it makes inanimate objects or animals, or the weather, natural forces like the weather, seem alive or human-like. Another way to put that is, it's writing that makes a thing seem like a person. So here are some examples. The author, the writer John Milton wrote once, this is a famous line of his, "Time, the subtle thief of youth." Well, can time really be a thief? Can it steal things? No. But at the same time, time does take away your youth. It makes you age. Or the second one, on dark nights, the houses had mean expressions on their faces. Well, houses don't have faces, but we could describe them that way. Or the angry wind yelled and scolded us with its vicious fingers. Wind isn't alive, right? It can't yell. But if you're a good writer, you could